The maid got pregnant by the millionaire, but he disappeared before finding out the news. The positive pregnancy test trembled in Lily Chen's hands as she sat on the bathroom floor of her Seattle apartment. Her tears stained the white tile as she tried unsuccessfully to make the call that would change her life. The call to Wesley Davidson went straight to voicemail, as it had for the last 2 weeks. "Wesley, it's me again. We need to talk. It's important." Her voice faltered on the last word, and she hung up before the sob escaped. Lily looked at her reflection in the bathroom mirror, her almond eyes swollen from crying, her messy black hair falling over her shoulders. At 28, her life was about to change drastically, and the man who was supposed to be by her side had simply disappeared. 3 weeks earlier, Wesley had left for a business trip to Portland. As vice president of development for an emerging technology company, trips were commonplace in his routine. But this time something was different. The messages, once frequent and affectionate, became sparse and cryptic until they stopped altogether. "I need to concentrate on something important. I'll talk to you soon." This was her last message, sent 12 days ago. Getting up from the cold floor, Lily walked to her home office, where pictures of her and Wesley decorated the walls. Their 8-month relationship had been intense and deep. Wesley, with his piercing blue eyes and gentle smile, had won not only her heart, but also her trust, something that Lily, after years of failed relationships, didn't offer easily. The phone rang, making her heart soar. It wasn't Wesley, but Charlotte Davidson, his sister-in-law. "Lily, sorry to call like this, but I'm worried. Wesley didn't show up for Mom's birthday yesterday." Lily's stomach churned. Wesley adored his mother, Margaret. He would never miss her birthday. "Charlotte, when was the last time you spoke to him?" "Almost 2 weeks ago. He seemed strange, distant. He said he was involved in something important at the company." Charlotte paused. "Lily, is there something you're not telling me?" The question hung in the air like a heavy cloud. Lily thought of the baby, her secret still so new that it had barely materialized in her own mind. "I'm worried too, Charlotte. He hasn't answered my messages for days." After hanging up, Lily began a frantic search for clues. She opened her laptop and went through the emails Wesley had sent over the last few weeks. Something caught her eye, a series of messages exchanged with someone identified only as RM. The messages were vague, but the tone was tense. "We need to resolve this immediately. The deadline is running out. We can't let this leak out." Lily had worked as a data analyst for long enough to know that something was wrong. Wesley had always been transparent about his dealings, but these messages suggested something different, something potentially dangerous. Her phone vibrated with a message from an unknown number. "Don't look for Wesley. He is safe, but any attempt to contact him could put him at risk." Panic settled in her chest like an icy weight. Lily ran to the bathroom and vomited, not knowing if it was because of her pregnancy or because of the fear that was now consuming her. That night, lying in her king-size bed that seemed too big without Wesley, Lily faced her first crucial decision. Should she share the news of her pregnancy with the Davidson family? The answer wasn't simple. The Davidsons were a traditional Seattle family, well known in the city's business circles. Margaret in particular had strict expectations about marriage and family. Her phone rang again. It was Robert Davidson, Wesley's father. "Lily, sorry to call so late. I've just left the board meeting. Wesley didn't show up today, and some important documents are missing. Do you know anything about it?" Robert's normally controlled voice betrayed concern. Lily felt her world spin. "Mr. Davidson, I don't know anything. Wesley hasn't spoken to me in days." "That's not like him. Something's wrong, Lily. Very wrong." After hanging up, Lily opened the drawer of her bedside table and took out the last letter Wesley had left before he left. The words now seemed to have a different meaning. "Lily, my love, if anything goes wrong, know that every decision I've made has been with our future in mind. Trust me. Love, Wesley." The Seattle moon shone through the window, casting restless shadows across the room. Lily placed her hand on her still flat belly, where the biggest secret of all was growing. Somewhere Wesley was facing something dangerous enough to keep him away, and she was there alone, carrying a life that would change everything. The distant sound of sirens echoed through the city, reminding her that danger could be closer than she imagined. With trembling hands, Lily began researching recent news about Wesley's company, determined to find some clue about his disappearance. On the computer screen, headlines about corporate mergers and technological developments blended together, but nothing explained the disappearance of the man she loved. As the night progressed, Lily realized that she was at the center of a mystery far greater than she could have imagined, and her decisions over the next few hours could affect not only her life, but also that of the baby she was carrying and possibly Wesley's fate. The next morning, Lily woke up with a sense of urgency that she couldn't ignore. The words of the anonymous message echoed in her mind, "Don't look for Wesley." But how could she simply accept the disappearance of the man she loved, especially now? In her work at Datacrest Analytics, Lily stood out for her ability to find patterns where others saw only noise. She decided to apply these skills to investigate Wesley's disappearance, starting with his company TechVision Enterprises. During her lunch break, Lily discreetly accessed Wesley's LinkedIn. Something caught her eye. 2 weeks before his disappearance, he had connected with Regina Martinez, a Silicon Valley executive known for her work in cybersecurity. The initials matched the mysterious RM in the emails. Ms. Chun, the voice of her assistant Amanda, interrupted her thoughts. "Someone from TechVision wants to talk to you. He says it's urgent." In the office lobby, Lily found Marcus Stevens, the security director of Wesley's company. His tense face and rigid posture already indicated that the conversation was not going to be pleasant. "Ms. Chun, we need to talk in private," said Marcus, his eyes scanning his surroundings. In a nearby coffee shop, Marcus revealed information that made Lily's blood run cold. Wesley discovered something in the weeks before he left. Something big. He mentioned a data breach that could compromise thousands of people. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because we found it on his desk." Marcus slid an envelope across the table. Inside was a photo of Lily taken 3 days earlier in front of his building. On the back was written, "She's the weak point." The morning sickness Lily had been feeling intensified with the revelation. It wasn't just her life at risk now, but the baby's too. "Wesley was protecting you," Marcus continued. "And now I understand why. There are more people involved in this, Lily. Powerful people." That afternoon, Lily received a call from Myra Davidson. The matriarch's normally controlled voice sounded fragile. "Darling, we're organizing a family meeting to discuss Wesley's disappearance. Your presence is expected." The invitation sounded more like a summons. The Davidson mansion on Mercer Island had always intimidated Lily with its imposing architecture and decades of family history on the walls. Now it seemed even more daunting. At the meeting, Robert Davidson commanded the discussion from the head of the dining table. Charlotte, sitting next to her husband Michael, cast worried glances at Lily. "The police aren't taking this seriously," Robert declared. "We need to hire private investigators." "What if Wesley doesn't want to be found?" Michael's question hung heavy over the room. "Maybe he has his reasons." Margaret Davidson adjusted her pearls, a gesture Lily already knew as a sign of discomfort. Wesley would never abandon his responsibilities like that, not without a serious reason. Lily felt all eyes converge on her. As Wesley's girlfriend, she should have answers. The weight of the secret in her belly seemed to increase by the second. Back in her apartment, Lily found a package with no sender. Inside was a USB stick and a note in Wesley's handwriting for when it's safe. "Trust only Regina." Her hands trembled as she inserted the USB stick into the computer. An encrypted folder appeared on the screen, protected by a password. Lily tried several combinations until she typed in Lily Flowers 0428, the date they met. The file opened, revealing documents about a money laundering scheme involving TechVision executives and a front company. But what caught his attention most was an email from Wesley to Regina Martinez. "If anything happens to me, protect Lily. She's all I have." The sound of footsteps in the hallway made Lily freeze. A shadow passed under her door, and she quickly switched off her computer. Her heart was pounding so hard it felt like it was going to explode. That night, lying in her bed, Lily made 2 crucial decisions. One, she wouldn't reveal her pregnancy to the Davidsons until she fully understood what Wesley was involved in. Second, she needed to find Regina Martinez. Her phone vibrated with a message from Charlotte. "I've just seen something strange on Wesley's bank statements. Can we meet tomorrow?" Lily replied in the affirmative, but something in her gut told her that she needed to be cautious even with Wesley's family. Placing her hand on her belly, she whispered to her still-forming baby, "We'll find your father, little one. I promise." In the darkness of her room, Lily began to plan her next move. Seattle no longer seemed safe, and the answer she was looking for apparently lay in Silicon Valley with Regina Martinez. While the city slept outside, she began her research into the executive determined to find out what had led Wesley to trust her so much. The mystery was only just beginning to unfold, and Lily knew that every step towards the truth put her in greater danger. But with a life growing inside her, she had no choice but to continue. Charlotte's message about Wesley's bank statements tormented Lily throughout the night. At breakfast, while fighting another wave of morning sickness, she mentally went over her options. The meeting with her sister-in-law could reveal crucial information, but it would also expose her to risks she couldn't ignore after Marcus Stevens' warning. She chose a busy coffee shop in downtown Seattle for the meeting. Pike's Corner Cafe. The presence of witnesses made her feel safer. Charlotte was already there when Lily arrived, her impeccably groomed blonde hair contrasting with the dark circles under her eyes. "I found something strange," Charlotte said as soon as Lily sat down. "Wesley made a transfer of $500,000 3 days before he disappeared to an account in the Cayman Islands." Lily felt her stomach turn, and not just because of her pregnancy. "How did you get access to this information?" "I work in the finance department of Tech Vision. Have you forgotten? But that's not all." Charlotte lowered her voice. "The transfer was approved by Robert, our father." The revelation hit Lily like a punch. Robert Davidson, always so correct and methodical, involved in suspicious transfers. Wesley's face appeared in her mind as last words about trusting only Regina Martinez, echoing with new urgency. "There's one more thing," Charlotte continued, sliding a piece of paper across the table. "I found this on Wesley's desk. It's an address in San Francisco." Lily recognized the address. It was the main office of Regina Martinez's company. Her heart raced with the confirmation that San Francisco was her next destination. Back in her office at Datacrest, Lily began to plan her trip. Using her data analysis skills, she created a detailed profile of Regina Martinez, MIT graduate, cryptography expert, founder of Martinez Security Solutions. Her company was known for uncovering and exposing corporate corruption schemes. An anonymous email interrupted her research. "We know you're looking. Last chance to back out." Attached was a photo of her leaving Pike's Corner Cafe with Charlotte. Her hands shaking, Lily booked a ticket to San Francisco for the following day. She needed to move quickly. At home, while she was packing, she received an unexpected call from Margaret Davidson. "Lily, dear, Robert has been acting strange ever since we found out about Wesley. Today I found him burning papers in his office. I've never seen him like this." Margaret's voice trembled, revealing a vulnerability that Lily had never noticed in her always so controlled mother-in-law. "I think he knows more than he's letting on." After hanging up, Lily sat on her bed, absorbing all the information. The laptop was still open on the USB stick that Wesley had left. She decided to make one more attempt to access the encrypted files, this time trying combinations related to his work. To his surprise, one of the files opened. It was a detailed report on suspicious transactions at Tech Vision, all approved by Robert Davidson. Wesley was investigating his own father. A noise in the room interrupted her discovery. Lily froze, hearing cautious footsteps approaching the room. She quickly closed her laptop and looked for something to use as a weapon. "Lily," Marcus Stevens' voice echoed through the apartment. "I need to talk to you. It's about Regina Martinez." Lily opened the door cautiously, meeting Marcus with an urgent look. "She's dead. They found her body this morning in San Francisco." The world seemed to spin around Lily. Her last connection to Wesley, the person who was supposed to protect her, was dead. Instinctively, she put her hand to her stomach. "There's more," Marcus continued. "Before she died, she sent a package to the Tech Vision office. Addressed to you." Lily sat down, trying to process the information. "Why to me? Wesley must have told her to do it." "The package is safe in a locker at the Central Post Office in Seattle. Here's the key." Marcus handed over a small envelope. "Be careful, Lily. The people behind this won't stop." After Marcus left, Lily changed her plans. Instead of going directly to San Francisco, she needed to retrieve Regina's package first. But something told her that she wasn't alone in this quest. That night, as the Seattle rain beat down on her window, Lily made a phone call she never imagined she would. "Charlotte, I need your help. But first, there's something you need to know." It was time to share at least one of her secrets with someone she could trust. Charlotte's voice on the other end of the line was firm. "Meet me in an hour at the old pier. Call me Alone." As she prepared to leave, Lily glanced once more at the photo of her with Wesley on her bedside table. "I'm going to find out the truth," she whispered, "for the three of us." The rain was falling mercilessly when Lily parked her car 2 blocks from Seattle's old pier. The site, once a bustling fishing port, was now a semi-abandoned structure that served mainly as a meeting place for suspicious businesses. Perfect for a meeting that needed to remain secret. Before getting out of the car, Lily once again checked the small stun gun that Charlotte had insisted she carry since they began investigating Wesley's disappearance. The object weighed down her bag like a constant reminder of the dangers that now surrounded her life. Charlotte was already waiting sheltered from the rain under an old fisherman's shed. Her eyes scanned the surroundings with the same caution that Lily felt. "We need to be quick," Charlotte said as soon as Lily approached. "I found out more about the transfer. The money didn't just go to the Cayman Islands, it was redirected to an account in Hong Kong." "Why Hong Kong?" "Because that's where TechVision is secretly building a new data center. A project that doesn't appear in any official reports." Lily felt a twinge of nausea, this time definitely pregnancy-related, and leaned on a nearby pillow. The movement didn't go unnoticed by Charlotte. "Lily, are you all right? You look—" "I'm pregnant," Lily let out the words, escaping before she could contain them. "Wesley's the father." The silence that followed was filled only by the sound of rain hitting the metal roof. Charlotte brought her hands to her mouth, her eyes filling with tears. "That's why you're so determined to find him," Charlotte whispered. "My God, Lily. How long?" 8 weeks. I found out soon after he disappeared." A metallic noise echoed across the pier, startling the 2 women. Charlotte pulled Lily behind some stacked boxes. "There's something else you need to know," Charlotte whispered. "Dad's not the only one involved. Michael is too." The revelation about Charlotte's husband struck Lily like a thunderbolt. Was Michael, the ever-helpful brother-in-law, also part of the conspiracy? "How did you find out?" "I found documents on his computer. He's been meeting regularly with a group called Consortium. Regina Martinez was investigating this group before." A flash of light cut through the darkness of the shed, followed by male voices approaching. Charlotte grabbed Lily's arm. "We have to get out of here. Now." The 2 women moved silently between the shadows, Lily's heart beating so hard she feared it might be heard. When they reached the back exit, they saw 2 men in suits entering from the front of the shed. "Regina's package," Lily whispered as they ran to the car. "We need to get it before they do." "Not today," Charlotte replied. "It's too risky. We need a plan." Back at the apartment, Lily found an envelope slid under her door. Inside was just one photo: Wesley apparently unconscious in an unknown room. The date printed in the bottom corner showed that the photo had only been taken 3 days ago. With trembling hands, Lily called Marcus Stevens. "He's alive," she said as soon as he picked up. "I have proof. Meet me tomorrow at the public library rare book section," Marcus replied. "Bring the photo." As she tried to sleep that night, Lily mentally went over all the information. She had the money transfer, the data center in Hong Kong, the mysterious Consortium, Robert and Michael's involvement, Regina's death, and now Wesley's photo. His phone vibrated with a message from Charlotte. "I just heard a discussion between Dad and Michael. They mentioned something about a containment protocol. Be careful." Lily put her hand on her stomach, feeling a renewed determination. She was no longer just fighting for Wesley or herself, she was fighting for her family's future. The next morning, as she prepared to meet Marcus, Lily realized she was being followed. A black sedan kept a constant distance, but was always present in her rearview mirror. Instead of going straight to the library, she drove around downtown Seattle, going in and out of stores until she was sure she had lost her pursuers. At the library, Marcus was already waiting for her, hidden among the old bookshelves. His normally composed face showed signs of concern. "Regina left more than just a package," he whispered. "She left a map, and I think I know where Wesley is. We're in a private compound on the outskirts of Hong Kong, the same place where TechVision is building its secret data center." Lily felt her world spin. The connection was finally becoming clear. Wesley hadn't just disappeared, he had been taken. Why do all this? Because he discovered something that could destroy not only TechVision, but the entire consortium. something big enough to justify kidnapping and murder. As she left the library, Lily knew she had reached a point of no return. The truth was beginning to emerge, but each revelation put her in greater danger. With a baby on the way and Wesley needing her help, she had no choice but to continue. Her phone vibrated with a new message, this time from an unknown number. Regina's package is the key. Get it before it's too late. The decision to retrieve Regina's package couldn't wait another day. After a restless night, Lily woke up before dawn, her mind focused on the mission ahead. Seattle's Central Post Office would open in a few hours, and she needed a plan to retrieve the mysterious package without being detected. Charlotte agreed to create a distraction in the TechVision office to keep Michael and Robert busy during the morning. I'll accidentally knock over coffee on the main server, she promised over the phone, that she'd keep them occupied for a few hours. Lily navigated the busy streets of downtown Seattle, constantly checking her rearview mirror. The black sedan from the day before was nowhere in sight, but she couldn't let her guard down. She parked 3 blocks from the Central Post Office and walked the rest of the way, mingling with the employees arriving for work. Inside the historic post office building, Lily located the private locker section. Her hands trembled slightly as she inserted the key Marcus had given her. The click of the lock sounded deafening in the quiet room. The package was smaller than she had expected, an ordinary brown envelope, but its weight suggested that it contained more than just papers. Lily quickly tucked it into her bag and left, keeping a casual pace despite her racing heart. On the sidewalk, her phone vibrated with a message from Charlotte. Urgent. Michael has just left the office. Direction unknown. Lily quickened her steps, but kept her composure. As she turned the corner towards her car, she saw a familiar figure leaning against it. Marcus Stevens. Don't open the package here, he said flatly. Come with me. Something in his tone made her hesitate. How did you know I'd be here? Because I was also monitoring Regina. Marcus took a step towards her. We need to talk about what she really found out. At that moment, Lily noticed something she hadn't noticed before: a small gold pin on Marcus' lapel, identical to the one she had seen Michael wearing in recent photos. You're part of the consortium, she whispered, stepping back. Marcus' smile changed, becoming something more sinister. I tried to do it the easy way, Lily. For Wesley. Before he could get any closer, a black BMW braked sharply beside them. Charlotte was at the wheel. Get in, she shouted. Lily didn't hesitate. She threw herself into the passenger's seat as Marcus tried to reach her. Charlotte accelerated, leaving him behind. How did you know? Lily asked, still panting. I found documents this morning. Marcus is the link between TechVision and the consortium. He's organizing the whole operation in Hong Kong. In the back seat of the car, Regina's package seemed to burn through Lily's handbag. She opened it carefully, finding an external hard drive and a handwritten letter. Dear Lily, if you're reading this, then my suspicions have been confirmed. Consortium is not just a criminal organization, it's a global data manipulation network. TechVision is just one piece of the puzzle. Wesley discovered something much bigger. The hard drive contains coordinates. A safe place. Look for June Howard in Portland. She can help. Stay alive. Regina. Charlotte guided the car out of Seattle, heading north on the I-5. We can't go home now, she said. Michael must be tracking me. How did you manage to escape? I said I needed to visit our mother in Bellingham. That's where we're going, but we're not going to get there. Lily placed her hand on her belly, a gesture that had now become automatic when she felt anxious. The baby, her most precious secret, now seemed more vulnerable than ever. Her phone rang. It was Marvin Davidson. Lily, darling, Robert is different. I found some strange documents in his office. Mentions of something called Project Phoenix. I think Wesley was looking into it when the call dropped abruptly. When Lily tried to call back, it went straight to voicemail. We need to get your mother, Lily told Charlotte. She could be in danger. Charlotte nodded, making a sharp turn towards Mercer Island. The Seattle sky was dark with storm clouds reflecting the tension that hung over them. In the passenger seat, Lily connected the hard drive to her laptop. Most of the files were encrypted, but one folder opened, revealing photos of an installation in Hong Kong and a series of emails between Wesley and Regina. My God, Charlotte whispered, glancing quickly at the screen. They're building something much bigger than a data center. It's a control center. The rain began to fall as they arrived at the Davidson mansion. The lights were all off, an alarming sign for a house that always had at least Margaret with the staff present. Stay in the car, Charlotte instructed, taking a small gun from the glove compartment. If anything happens, drive to Portland. Find June Howard. Lily watched Charlotte disappear into the darkness of the mansion, her heart hammering in her chest. Regina's package weighed heavily on her lap, containing secrets that had cost lives and torn families apart. Somewhere in Hong Kong, Wesley was alive, probably held against his will by people he once considered family. And now, sitting alone in a car in the rain, Lily realized that she was at the center of a conspiracy far greater than she had ever imagined. A noise inside the mansion startled her. It was time to make another crucial decision: stay in the car as Charlotte had instructed, or risk everything to discover the truth that could save them all. Lily couldn't stay in a car. The silence coming from the Davidson mansion was deafening, and every second of waiting increased her concern for Charlotte. With Regina's HD firmly in her handbag, she got out of the vehicle, shielding herself from the rain as she approached the back entrance. The kitchen door was unlocked, the first sign that something was wrong. Marta would never leave the house vulnerable like that. Lily entered silently, her footsteps muffled by the kitchen carpet. The familiar aroma of freshly brewed coffee hung in the air, but the kettle was off and cold. "Charlotte," she whispered, moving towards the living room. No reply. A noise coming from Robert's office caught her attention. Approaching cautiously, Lily heard muffled voices through the solid oak door. "You don't understand, Margaret." It was Robert's voice, tense and defensive. "Wesley discovered something he never should have. We were protecting the family." Protecting? Margaret's voice trembled with anger. "You sent our son to Hong Kong against his will. He's safe there. It's temporary until we sort out." The sound of breaking glass interrupted the conversation. Lily instinctively stepped back, but her movement made the wooden floor creak. The voices inside the office ceased immediately. "There's someone here," said a third voice, Michael. Lily ran towards the back stairs, her heart hammering in her chest. On the second floor, she found Charlotte in one of the guest bedrooms, rummaging through a drawer. "Lily, I told you to stay in the car. Your mother's downstairs with Robert and Michael. They're talking about Wesley." Charlotte paled but continued her search. "We need to find the red pen drive. Mom told me she kept something important here." The sound of footsteps on the stairs made them both freeze. Charlotte quickly closed the drawer and pulled Lily into the adjoining closet, closing the door just as someone entered the room. "Search everywhere," Michael's voice ordered. "The pen drive has to be here." Through a crack in the closet door, Lily observed two men she had never seen before rummaging through the room. Her heart almost stopped when one of them approached the closet. Just then, Margaret's voice echoed down the corridor. "What do you think you're doing in my guest room?" The men stopped their search. "Mrs. Davidson, please return to the office." "This is my house," Margaret replied, her voice laden with authority. "And you are not welcome here." The sound of more footsteps indicated the arrival of other people. Robert and Michael appeared at the bedroom door. "Margaret, darling, please," Robert tried to calm his wife. "This is necessary." "Necessary?" Margaret laughed bitterly. "How is it necessary to send our son to the other side of the world? How was it necessary to threaten Lily?" In the closet, Charlotte held Lily's hand tightly. They both barely dared to breathe. "You don't understand what's at stake," Michael interjected. "Project Phoenix isn't just a data center. It's the future of global surveillance technology. Wesley discovered the real plans and threatened to expose everything." "So you kidnapped him?" Margaret concluded, her voice breaking. "Your own brother, Michael?" The silence that followed was interrupted by the ringing of a telephone. One of the men quickly answered. "So yes, I understand. No, we haven't found it yet." He paused. "Yes, Miss Chun was seen entering the Central Post Office this morning." Lily felt her blood run cold. They knew about Regina's package. "Find her," Robert ordered, "and bring back anything she picked up at the post office." The men left the room, leaving only the Davidson family. Margaret waited a few moments before speaking again. "Robert, if anything happens to Wesley or Lily, I'll never forgive you." "They'll be fine as long as they cooperate," Robert replied, his voice distant. "Come on, we have a board meeting in an hour." When the footsteps moved away, Charlotte and Lily waited a few more minutes before leaving the closet. Margaret was standing by the window watching the rain. "I knew you'd come," she said without turning around. The pen drive is in the false bottom of the last drawer. Charlotte quickly retrieved the red device while Lily watched Margaret with a mixture of gratitude and concern. "Wesley's alive," Lily said softly. "And I'm pregnant." Margaret finally turned around, silent tears streaming down her face. "I know, darling. I saw the pregnancy tests in the trash in your apartment when I went to drop off those papers last week." She approached Lily, gently touching her belly. "Now you need to go. There's a car waiting in the back garage. The keys are in the kitchen drawer. Come with us," Charlotte begged. Margaret shook her head. "I need to stay and keep Robert distracted. Go to Portland, find June Howard." She was Regina's partner. As they left the mansion by the back door, Lily felt the weight of yet another secret on her shoulders. Now she wasn't just fighting for Wesley and the baby, but for an entire family torn apart by secrets and betrayals. The new car, a discreet Audi, was waiting in the garage as promised. As Charlotte drove through the rain towards Portland, Lily plugged the 2 USB sticks in her laptop, determined to find out what was so important about the Phoenix Project that it justified destroying an entire family. The drive to Portland was marked by a tense silence, broken only by the sound of the rain against the Audi's windshield. Lily alternated between examining the data on the USB sticks and monitoring possible suspicious vehicles through the rearview mirror. The content she was discovering every minute made her breathing heavier. Project Phoenix isn't just about surveillance, she finally said, her voice shaking slightly. They're developing a system of mass data manipulation. They can alter bank records, medical histories, even entire identities. Charlotte kept her eyes fixed on the soggy road. That's why Wesley was sent to Hong Kong. He found out that our father was helping to build a global control tool. As they entered Portland, the sky began to lighten, although the tension inside the car remained thick. Locating June Howard proved more challenging than they expected. The only address they had was for a coffee shop in the Pearl District. The Artemis Coffee Shop was a discreet establishment with large windows fogged up by the rain. Lily felt a pang of nausea as she entered, a combination of the strong aroma of coffee and her developing pregnancy. A middle-aged barista watched them with interest as she cleaned the counter. "Can I help you? We're looking for June Howard," Charlotte replied, keeping her voice low. The woman stopped, cleaning her eyes, studying the two of them more closely. "Regina said you." Lily stepped forward. "Yes, she's dead." The barista's expression changed subtly. "Aunt June, let's talk in the back." The office behind the cafe was a striking contrast to the cozy atmosphere in front. Monitors displayed feeds from security cameras, and a desk was covered in surveillance equipment. "Regina warned me you might show up," June said, closing the door. "She also told me to give this to Lily Chan if anything happened to her." June removed a frame from the wall, revealing a built-in safe. From inside, she removed a sealed laptop. "This computer contains the key to decrypt all the Phoenix Project files," she explained. "Wesley managed to make a complete copy before he was taken." "Why did Regina entrust it to you?" Charlotte asked. "Because I helped develop the original system," June replied, her voice laden with regret. "Before I found out what it would actually be used for." Lily plugged in her laptop, her hands shaking slightly. On the screen, dozens of folders began to open automatically, revealing documents, photos, and videos. "My God," Charlotte whispered, looking over Lily's shoulder. "These are test records of the system. They're already using it on a small scale." In Seattle, June confirmed. "Tech vision is just the front. The real power is in the hands of the consortium." A video file caught Lily's eye, dated 3 days ago. It showed Wesley in an interrogation room in Hong Kong. He looked tired but determined. "I can't let them do this," his voice sounded clear on the video. "Lily, if you're watching this, the red pen drive contains the exact coordinates. Find me." Tears streamed down Lily's face as she watched Wesley being led away by guards. Instinctively, her hand found her belly. Her son or daughter would never know their father if she didn't act quickly. "We need help to get to Hong Kong," Charlotte said. "We can't do it alone." June nodded, typing something into her computer. "I have contacts, people who also want to expose the consortium, but we need to be extremely careful. Robert and Michael probably already know you're in Portland." As if to confirm her words, a notification appeared on the security screen. A black sedan had parked across the street. "Back exit now," June ordered, grabbing a prepared bag. "I've got a car waiting in the alley." As they ran through the cafeteria kitchen, Lily felt her phone vibrate. It was a message from Margaret. Robert knows about the baby. They're coming. Panic threatened to overwhelm her, but Lily forced it down. She couldn't afford to lose focus now. Wesley needed her. Her baby needed her. In the alley, a gray van waited with its engine running. The driver, a middle-aged Asian man, waved urgently for them to get in. "This is David," June quickly introduced herself. "He's gonna take you somewhere safe." "And you?" Charlotte asked. "I need to stay and cover our tracks. Go will contact you when it's safe." As the van drove away through the Portland rain, Lily hugged her laptop to her chest. On it was not only the evidence against the consortium, but also her only chance of finding Wesley. "Where are we going?" she asked David. "Vancouver," he replied, his eyes fixed on the rearview mirror. "I have a private plane waiting. Hong Kong is our next destination." Lily exchanged glances with Charlotte, both understanding the gravity of the situation. There was no turning back. The battle to save Wesley and expose the truth about Project Phoenix was only just beginning. The rain finally began to fall, but the shadows of the conspiracy that had torn their lives apart continued to grow thicker around them. The private airport on the outskirts of Vancouver was shrouded in dense fog when David's van parked next to the hangar. Lily watched the small Cessna Citation plane through the fogged-up window, her mind torn between the fear of the journey ahead and the urgency of finding Wesley. "We have to move fast," David instructed, checking his phone. "I've just received information that Robert Davidson has activated contacts at the border. Soon all the main airports will be on alert." Charlotte helped Lily load the essential equipment into the aircraft, including the laptop containing the evidence from Project Phoenix. The pregnancy, now entering its 9th week, was beginning to take its physical toll, especially after days of intense stress and little rest. "You need to eat something," Charlotte insisted, offering a protein bar she had picked up in June's cafeteria. "It's not just for you now." Inside the plane, an Asian woman in her 40s was waiting for them. "I'm Maya Lin," she introduced herself. "I work with June's network. I'll be accompanying you to Hong Kong." As the plane taxied for takeoff, Lily received another message from Margaret. "Michael is tracking the signal from your cell phones. Turn them off immediately." "They have access to practically everything," Maya explained as the three women switched off their devices. Project Phoenix isn't just a surveillance system, it's a total control tool. They can manipulate everything from security cameras to medical records. "That's why they needed Wesley away," Charlotte murmured, understanding dawning in her eyes. "Not only did he discover the project, but he found a way to disable it." Lily opened her laptop, determined to understand more about the system that had cost her so much. Among the files, she found a video dated 2 weeks before Wesley's disappearance. In it, he explained technically how Project Phoenix worked. "The system uses advanced artificial intelligence to create what we call a digital alternate reality," Wesley's voice explained. "They can literally rewrite someone's history, altering records in real time. It's the perfect tool for social control." "And tech vision is just the tip of the iceberg," Maya added. "The consortium has connections with governments, global corporations, even intelligence agencies." As the plane crossed the Pacific, Lily continued to analyze the data. Her experience as a data analyst revealed disturbing patterns. Tests of the system were already underway in several American cities, subtly altering bank records and medical histories. "Look at this," she drew the others' attention. "There's a code sequence that repeats itself at regular intervals." Wesley left a coded message. Charlotte leaned over the laptop, her eyes quickly scanning the lines of code. "It looks like an address, specific coordinates in Hong Kong." "That's where they keep it," Maya confirmed. "The complex is disguised as a data processing center, but it's actually a consortium research and development facility." Turbulence shook the plane, making Lily feel another wave of nausea. She closed her eyes, breathing deeply, her hand instinctively finding her stomach. "Wesley knew this could happen," she said softly. "That's why he left so many clues, so many planned escape routes." "He was always the smartest in the family," Charlotte commented with a sad smile. "Mom used to say that his brain worked on a different frequency." Maya checked her specially modified tablet to avoid tracking. "I have contacts in Hong Kong who could help us get into the compound. But we need to be extremely careful. The consortium has eyes everywhere." "How are we going to get through immigration?" Lily asked, the concern evident in her voice. Leave that to me, Maya replied. I have documents prepared. From now on, your Canadian IT consultants on a business trip. The rest of the flight was spent memorizing their new identities and planning every detail of the operation in Hong Kong. Lily forced herself to eat more, aware that she would need all her strength for what was to come. As the plane began its descent over the South China Sea, the lights of Hong Kong twinkled on the horizon like 1,000 earthly stars. Somewhere in that urban expanse, Wesley was waiting. Lily could feel it. Ready? Charlotte asked softly. Lily nodded, her determination stronger than her fear. I didn't come all this way to give up now. Wesley needs to know about the baby, and the world needs to know about Project Phoenix. Maya distributed the last of the necessary equipment, discrete communicators, access devices, and small emergency devices. Remember, from the moment we step foot in that terminal, our every move will be monitored. Project Phoenix is everywhere. The plane touched down in Hong Kong, and Lily felt the weight of the mission ahead of them. It wasn't just about saving Wesley now, it was about stopping a system of total control from changing the world as they knew it. For our future, she whispered, one hand on her stomach, the other tightly gripping the laptop with the evidence that could expose everything. The humid Hong Kong air wrapped Lily like a heavy blanket as Charlotte and Maya made their way through the airport terminal. Their new Canadian documents passed through immigration control without a hitch, but Lily could feel the eyes of the security cameras following their every move. Stay natural, Maya murmured, guiding them through the crowd. Our contact is waiting in the parking lot. A middle-aged man with thin-rimmed glasses was waiting next to a black van. Welcome to Hong Kong, he said in perfect English. I'm Dr. Zhang. I worked with Wesley on the initial development of the Phoenix project. On the drive to the city center, Dr. Zhang explained how Wesley had discovered the consortium's true intentions. He realized that they were using the system to create detailed psychological profiles of millions of people, not just for surveillance, but for mass manipulation. How exactly? Lily asked, her hand instinctively protecting her belly as the van navigated the chaotic traffic. Imagine being able to alter not just records, but entire digital memories. Photos, videos, communications, history, everything can be rewritten. It's possible to make someone believe in a completely different reality. Charlotte typed furiously on her tablet. I've just received an alert from Jian. Michael is in Hong Kong. He arrived on a private flight 2 hours ago. Lily felt her stomach turn, and it wasn't just because of her pregnancy. They know we're here. That's why we need to act quickly, Dr. Zhang replied, turning into a narrow street. The compound where Wesley is being held has a weak point, a maintenance entrance that isn't connected to the main system. The van stopped at an inconspicuous commercial building. On the 15th floor, Dr. Zhang took them to an office transformed into a makeshift operations center. Maps and blueprints of the consortium complex covered an entire wall. Wesley is being held underground, he explained, pointing to a section of the floor plan. The consortium wants him alive because he's the only one who knows the system completely, but they haven't been able to get him to cooperate. Lily studied the maps, her training in data analysis, helping her to identify patterns in guard change times and security cycles. Here she pointed, this service entrance has a 3-minute break between rounds. Precisely, Maya agreed. And we have someone on the inside willing to help us? One of the scientists, Dr. Lin, was a close friend of Regina's. The sound of helicopters passing near the building made everyone tense up. Charlotte checked the security cameras that had been installed around the perimeter. Clear for now, but not for long. Dr. Zhang rolled out another floor plan, this one showing the ventilation systems. Once inside the complex, you can use these ducts to get to the main laboratory. That's where they keep the core of Project Phoenix. And Wesley, Lily asked, her voice betraying her anxiety. According to our source, he's being held in a containment room next to the lab. But there's something else you need to know. Dr. Zhang hesitated. The consortium is planning to transfer him to another facility within 48 hours. The news hit Lily like a punch in the gut. Her time was rapidly running out. Then we need to act tonight. Maya began distributing the equipment, discrete communicators, access devices, and small EMPs to disable security cameras. Remember, once we're inside the complex, we'll have approximately 20 minutes before the backup systems kick in. Charlotte held Lily's hand. Are you sure you want to do this in your condition? I didn't come all the way to Hong Kong to give up now, Lily replied firmly. Besides, I'm not alone in this mission. Dr. Zhang received a message on his specially encrypted phone. Dr. Lin has confirmed. She'll be on duty tonight in the lab. She'll create a distraction in the security systems at 11 p.m. As the sun set over Hong Kong, turning the skyscrapers into silhouettes against the orange sky, the team finalized the last details of the plan. Lily knew she was about to take part in the most dangerous operation of her life, but the alternative, losing Wesley and allowing the consortium to continue its global control project, was unthinkable. There's one more thing, Dr. Zhang said, handing Lily a small device. Wesley developed this before he was captured. It's a kill switch for the entire Phoenix system, but it only works if it's activated directly on the main server. Lily put the device away, feeling its weight far greater than its physical dimensions would suggest. In a few hours, not only would she be trying to rescue the man she loved, but she might also have the chance to dismantle one of the greatest threats to privacy and freedom ever created. Night fell over Hong Kong, and with it came the moment of truth. Lily once again checked the specially adapted bulletproof vest Maya had provided to protect her pregnancy. Somewhere in that maze of concrete and technology, Wesley was waiting, unaware that he would soon be a father. It's time, Maya announced, checking her watch. Remember, no matter what happens, Project Phoenix cannot remain operational. As night deepened over Hong Kong, Lily, Charlotte, and Maya positioned themselves near the service entrance to the consortium complex. Lily's heart was pounding against her bulletproof vest, each beat seeming to echo Wesley's name. Dr. Lin confirms position. Dr. Zhang's voice crackled through the communicator. Security systems will be compromised in 3, 2, 1. The perimeter lights flickered briefly before going out, plunging the alley into darkness. Maya quickly used an access device to open the service door, and the 3 women slipped into the complex. Remember, Maya whispered, we have 20 minutes until the backup systems start up. Follow the plan. The inside of the complex was a maze of sterile corridors and security doors. Lily consulted the mental map she had memorized, guiding the group through a series of calculated turns. The smell of ozone and electronic equipment permeated the air. Movement ahead, Charlotte warned, checking her tablet. 2 guards approaching. They hid in a niche in the wall, holding their breath as the guards passed. Lily could feel her baby moving restlessly, as if she too felt the tension of the moment. The main lab is 2 levels down, Maya informed them, consulting her screen. Wesley's containment room should be nearby. Using the ventilation ducts as planned, they made their way down to the correct level. Lily's heart almost stopped when she heard a familiar voice echoing down one of the corridors. Michael. The system needs to be operational within 24 hours, he was telling someone. Robert is losing patience with Wesley's resistance. Lily felt Charlotte's hand squeeze her shoulder in support. They waited for Michael and his escort to pass before emerging from the ducts. Containment room B7, Maya indicated, consulting the floor plan. That must be it. Approaching the door, Lily activated the access device. The security panel flashed green, and the door slid silently open. Wesley was sitting in a chair, apparently asleep. His face showed signs of exhaustion, but he was unharmed. When the door opened, he raised his head, his eyes widening at the sight of Lily. No, he whispered. You shouldn't be here. It's too dangerous. Lily ran to him, her hands shaking as she undid the restraints. I couldn't leave you here. Lily, you don't understand. The Phoenix Project, it's worse than we imagined. They're not just altering records, they're rewriting memories. They can make people believe in completely different realities. We know, Charlotte interrupted, keeping guard on the door. That's why we brought this. She showed him the kill switch. Wesley was finally free of his restraints. He held Lily's face between his hands, his eyes studying every detail of her, as if trying to memorize it. There's something I need to tell you, Lily began, but was interrupted by a distant alarm. The backup systems are starting up ahead of schedule, Maya warned. We need to move. Now? Wesley picked up the kill switch, his fingers already working the controls. The main server is at the end of the corridor. We have to get there. The group moved quickly, with Maya at the front and Charlotte covering the rear. Lily noticed that Wesley was limping slightly, but his eyes shone with renewed determination. Why didn't you tell me, he asked as they ran. About the baby, Lily almost stumbled. How did you? The security cameras. I saw you in the bathroom of your apartment taking the test. It was the day I was taken away. Before Lily could reply, voices echoed down the corridor. Michael and Robert appeared accompanied by armed guards. Wesley, Robert called out, his voice echoing off the metal walls. You know you can't destroy the system. Have you thought about how many lives can be saved with it? We can prevent crimes before they happen, identify threats. By controlling people's minds, Wesley retorted. Rewriting their memories, that's not protection, Dad. It's tyranny. Michael stepped forward, his gun pointed at the group. Don't be naive, brother. The world needs order. Consortium can provide it. Just then the lights flickered again, Dr. Len fulfilling her part of the plan by creating a distraction in the electrical systems. In the momentary confusion, Maya threw a smoke grenade. Main server, Wesley shouted through the smoke, pulling Lily with him. We have to get there before the systems fully restore. Gunfire echoed down the corridor as they ran. Charlotte and Maya provided cover, allowing Wesley and Lily to reach the server door. Together, Lily asked, holding the kill switch with Wesley. He nodded his free hand, finding her stomach. For our future. The device was inserted into the main server, and Wesley began the deactivation sequence. Behind him, the sound of footsteps and gunfire approached, but nothing else mattered beyond that moment. The future of millions of people, including his unborn son, depended on the success of that mission. And there, in the heart of Consortium's digital empire, Lily and Wesley were about to change the course of history. The Consortium's main server pulsed with bluish light as the kill switch began its deactivation sequence. Lily and Wesley stood together, their hands intertwined over the device as the sound of footsteps and gunfire echoed ever closer. System compromised. Begin containment protocol in 60 seconds, announced a robotic voice through the speakers. We can't let them complete the sequence, Robert's voice thundered down the corridor. Michael, do something. Charlotte and Maya held position at the entrance to the server room, exchanging fire with the Consortium guards. The air was heavy with smoke and tension. Lily, Wesley whispered, his fingers working frantically on the terminal. If anything happens to me, the red pen drive has everything you need to know about the baby. About us. Don't talk like that, Lily replied, her hands shaking as she assisted in the deactivation sequence. Let's get out of here together. The server screen flashed red. Attention, deactivation attempt detected. Initiating defense protocols. Wesley cursed softly. They've updated the system. We need a higher level authorization code. Maybe I can help with that. A familiar voice sounded behind them. Margaret Davidson was standing at the secondary entrance to the server room, holding an access card. Mom, Wesley and Michael exclaimed simultaneously. Margaret crossed the room with steady steps, ignoring the gunshots that still echoed in the corridor. I found this in your father's office weeks ago. I knew it would be needed one day. As she inserted the card into the terminal, Robert appeared in the doorway, his face contorted in a mixture of anger and incredulity. Margaret, you don't understand what you're doing. No, Robert, she replied without taking her eyes off the screen. You don't understand what you've done to our family. With our son. The system emitted a confirmation beep, accepting the authorization code. Wesley immediately resumed the deactivation sequence, his fingers flying over the keyboard. 30 seconds to total system collapse, announced the robotic voice. Michael advanced through the smoke, his gun pointed at the group. Move away from the terminal. Now, you're going to be an uncle too, Michael, Charlotte shouted, still holding her defensive position. Do you really want your nephew to be born into a world where the Consortium controls everything? Michael's momentary hesitation was all Maya needed. With one precise movement, she disarmed him, while Charlotte rushed to restrain Robert. 10 seconds to system collapse. Wesley pulled Lily behind the terminal as the first sparks began to fly from the servers. Margaret joined them, forming a protective barrier around Lily. 5 for 3, security protocols breached, initiating total shutdown. The lights in the complex flickered one last time before plunging everyone into total darkness. For a few seconds, the silence was absolute, broken only by the soft sound of the server fans slowing to a complete stop. When the emergency lights came on, bathing the room in a soft red hue, Project Phoenix was dead. Years of development, millions of dollars in technology, and a plan to control the minds of millions, all reduced to rows of inert servers. Is it over? Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The The digital part is, Wesley replied, hugging her protectively. But we still have to deal with the human part. Robert Davidson was sitting on the floor, his back against the wall, looking suddenly aged. Michael stood unarmed, his face a mask of confusion and regret. You don't understand, Robert muttered. The world is in chaos. Project Phoenix could have brought order, peace. Through mind control, Wesley interrupted. By altering memories, that's not peace, Dad. It's prison. Margaret approached her husband, her eyes soft but determined. Robert, look at your family. Look at your son, at the daughter-in-law who carries your grandson. Is that what you want to leave as a legacy? Sirens began to sound in the distance. Maya checked her tablet. Hong Kong police. Someone must have heard the shots. Dr. Lin, Charlotte reminded her. She must have called the authorities. Wesley held Lily closer, his hand resting protectively on her stomach. We have all the evidence we need to expose the consortium. It's over, Dad. Really? Robert looked at his reunited family, the son who tried to protect the world from its own mistake, the wife who never stopped believing in the truth, the daughter-in-law who risked everything to save not only Wesley, but also the future. Slowly he nodded. I'm going to turn myself in, he said quietly. Tell them everything I know about the consortium. Michael took a step forward. Me too. Charlotte, will you forgive me? As the sirens approached, Lily felt her baby move again, as if celebrating victory. Wesley noticed her expression and smiled, kissing her forehead softly. Let's go home, he whispered. We have a future to build. The sun was rising over Hong Kong as the local authorities finalized the arrests at the consortium compound. Lily watched through the window of the police interrogation room as Wesley gave his statement, explaining the technical details of Project Phoenix and consortium's involvement in global data manipulation operations. Ms. Chun, a kindly featured detective, called out to her. I need your statement now. Lily nodded, following him into another room. Through the window, she could see Charlotte consoling Margaret, who alternated between moments of unshakable strength and moments of fragility as she watched Robert and Michael being prosecuted. Please tell us how you found out about the project, the detective asked, activating a recorder. Lily took a deep breath, her hand instinctively finding her belly. It started when Wesley disappeared. I just found out I was pregnant. As she recounted the event of the last few weeks, Lily realized how every little decision had led them to this point. The positive pregnancy test, the mysterious messages, Regina's package, the trip to Portland, June, and Maya's help, everything connected like pieces of a complex puzzle. Maya entered the room, gently interrupting the testimony. I'm sorry, but you need to see this. On the screens of the police station, news about the consortium began to circulate globally. Journalists were revealing details about attempts at mass manipulation, altering records, and the plan for mind control through technology. The world was waking up to a frightening truth that had almost come true. The servers in Seattle have also been disabled, Maya reported, showing data on her tablet. The technical teams are destroying the last vestiges of the Phoenix Project code. Wesley appeared in the doorway, his face exhausted but relieved. I've finished my statement. Can we go? The detective nodded, handing them contact cards. Keep yourselves available for further questions. And congratulations on the baby. In the hotel where the police had temporarily set them up, Lily finally had a moment alone with Wesley. He hugged her from behind, his hands resting protectively on her belly. Can you forgive me for not telling you about the pregnancy before? Lily asked softly. Only if you forgive me for not trusting you about the Phoenix Project from the start, he replied, kissing her neck. I was trying to protect you, but I ended up putting everyone in more danger. A soft knock on the door interrupted them. Margaret entered, her eyes red but determined. Charlotte's with the lawyers. They think Michael could get a deal by cooperating, but Robert, her voice faltered and Wesley hugged her. Dad made his choices, Mom. Now we need to think about the future. And what a future, Margaret smiled faintly, looking down at Lily's belly. My first grandchild. June called by video conference, her face appearing on the laptop screen. The evidence is secure. Investigative teams on 3 continents are using the data to dismantle other consortium operations. In Regina, Lily asked, feeling the weight of losing her ally. Her sacrifice was not in vain, June replied. The world is changing thanks to what she started and you finished. That night, while Hong Kong shone outside, Lily and Wesley planned their return to Seattle. The world their son would know would be different from the one that had almost come true. A world of freedom instead of control, of truth instead of manipulation. I was thinking, Wesley said, playing with Lily's hair, we could call the baby Phoenix. Lily laughed. After all we've been through with the Phoenix Project, not for the project, he explained, but for what it represents: rebirth, new beginnings. Our family being reborn from the ashes of it all. Charlotte entered the room carrying tea and cookies. Michael wants to talk to you before he's transferred. Wesley exchanged glances with Lily, who nodded. Shall we go together? In the detention center, Michael seemed smaller, more vulnerable. Wesley, Lily, I'm so sorry for everything. Why did you get involved in this, Michael? Wesley asked, his voice more sad than accusing. It started with good intentions, Michael explained. We believed we could prevent crime, save lives. But power, it corrupts. And when I realized what it had become, I was too involved to leave. Lily held Wesley's hand, feeling his tension. The important thing is that you chose the right side in the end. The baby, Michael smiled faintly. That's what made me realize. The idea of a child growing up in a world where thoughts can be controlled. Wesley nodded, understanding. There's always a chance for redemption, brother. Leaving the detention center, Lily and Wesley found Margaret waiting in the car. The sun was setting over Hong Kong, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. Home? Margaret asked, starting the car. Home, Lily confirmed, her hand finding Wesley's. We have a nursery to prepare for. The flight back to Seattle was silent, with Lily dozing on Wesley's shoulder as the plane cut through the night sky over the Pacific. The last few weeks in Hong Kong had been intense, with endless testimony to the international police and prosecutors involved in the consortium case. Wesley watched Lily's serene profile, his hand gently resting on her belly, which was beginning to show the first signs of pregnancy. 12 weeks had passed since the positive test that had changed their lives, and now they could finally breathe without fear. She's finally managed to sleep, Charlotte commented from the seat next to her, closing her laptop where she was reviewing the latest news on the case. The nausea seems to have subsided a little. The doctor in Hong Kong said it's normal at this stage. Wesley replied softly, adjusting the blanket over Lily. I still can't believe I almost lost all there. Margaret, sitting across the aisle, looked up from her book. But you didn't, darling. And now we have a future to plan for. Her mother's words carried a special weight. Margaret had shown herself to be a surprising force throughout the legal process. Her decision to testify against Robert and provide crucial evidence about the consortium's operations had helped ensure that justice was done. Wesley's tablet vibrated with a message from June. Last consortium cells in Europe have been dismantled. Maya is coordinating the final wipe of the servers. You did it. Lily stirred in her sleep, muttering something inaudible. Wesley smiled, remembering the first antenatal appointment they had finally been able to have together in Hong Kong after the fall of the consortium. The sound of the baby's heart still echoed in his memory, a constant reminder of what really mattered. I thought about renovating the lake house, he commented to Charlotte and Margaret. It would be a perfect place to raise a family away from the hustle and bustle of the city. And safe, Charlotte added, understanding the subtext. Even with the consortium dismantled, the paranoia of being watched or stalked still persisted. The plane began its descent to Seattle, and Lily woke up slowly, her eyes immediately meeting Wesley's. I dreamt about the baby, she said softly. It was a girl. Phoenix, Wesley whispered, kissing her forehead. Our little Phoenix. Still thinking about that name, Margaret asked, a soft smile on her lips. It's quite appropriate, all things considered. Seattle Airport greeted them with a gentle rain typical of the city. June had organized a discreet shuttle to take them directly to a secure condominium on the outskirts where they would stay until the dust had completely settled. Dr. Jean called Charlotte, informed them as they left the terminal. Michael is cooperating fully with the investigations. He wants to do the right thing, especially now that he's going to be an uncle. Wesley nodded, conflicting feelings about his brothers still present. He'll get his chance at redemption. Everyone deserves a second chance. At home, Lily immediately noticed the subtle changes in her apartment. June and her team had removed all the surveillance devices installed by the consortium, but the space still carried memories of moments of fear and uncertainty. We don't have to stay here, Wesley said, noticing her discomfort. We can start from scratch wherever you want. Lily walked over to the window, watching the lights of Seattle glistening in the rain. You know, I spent so much time being afraid here, but it's also where I found out I was pregnant, where I started fighting for us. Maybe we can turn the bad memories into something better. Margaret moved closer, placing a gentle hand on Lily's shoulder. The lake house has enough room for all of us, at least until you decide on the next step, and I'd love to be around to help with the baby. Charlotte was already on the phone to realtors organizing the sale of her own house. Being close to Michael, even though he was in custody, brought back too many painful memories. Fresh starts, she said, hanging up the phone. That's what we all need now. That night after Margaret and Charlotte had left for the hotel, Lily and Wesley lay in their bed, their hands intertwined over the small box that housed their daughter. When did you find out? Wesley asked softly. About the pregnancy? The morning after you left for Portland, Lily replied, turning to face him. I wanted to tell you so much, but then you disappeared and everything turned into a nightmare. I'll never leave you two again. Wesley promised, his voice laced with emotion. Phoenix will grow up knowing that her parents fought for a better world for her. The sound of the rain on the window created a soft melody, lulling the moment of peace they had longed for. Somewhere in the city, the last traces of the Phoenix Project were being erased, but the true legacy, the love that united them, and the life they had created together was only just beginning to blossom. 6 months after the events in Hong Kong, Lake Washington reflected the early morning sun as Lily admired the view from the balcony of the newly renovated house. Her now prominent Belly House Phoenix, who was just as active as her parents, especially in the early hours of the day. I thought I'd find you here, Wesley said, wrapping his arms around her from behind and placing a kiss on her neck. The doctor told me to rest more. Phoenix won't let me, Lily smiled, feeling her daughter's movements. I think she inherited your restlessness. The lake house had become a safe haven for the Davidson family. Margaret occupied the east wing, finding peace in her rose garden and in preparing the baby's room. Charlotte had bought a property nearby, her constant presence a reminder of how much their trials had brought them closer together. June called earlier. Wesley commented, guiding Lily inside where breakfast was waiting. The latest cases against the consortium have been concluded. Michael got a reduced sentence for cooperating. Lily settled into the chair Wesley had pulled out for her, watching as Margaret entered the kitchen with a bouquet of fresh roses. In Robert, 20 years, Margaret replied, her voice steady despite the underlying pain. He's still cooperating with the international investigations. The aroma of homemade waffles filled the kitchen, one of the new Sunday traditions they had established. Charlotte arrived carrying newspapers and her inseparable tablet. 3 more consortium executives had been arrested in Europe, she announced, pouring herself a cup of coffee. Maya is coordinating the last phase of cleaning up the ghost servers. Wesley nodded his hand, finding Lily's on the table. It's strange to think that only 6 months ago we were in the middle of that nightmare. And now we're here about to welcome Phoenix. Lily smiled, then grimaced when the baby kicked particularly hard. She's going to be a fighter, just like her parents, Margaret commented, arranging the roses in a crystal vase. The sound of an approaching car caught everyone's attention. Through the window, they saw Dr. Jean and June getting out of a black sedan. Surprised, June smiled as she got in, carrying a package. We couldn't miss the baby's shower. The mention of the event made Lily laugh. After so much tension and danger, the idea of a traditional baby shower seemed surreally normal. But that was exactly the normality they needed right now. We brought something special, Dr. Jean said, handing Wesley a small device. It's a frequency scanner. We developed it after Project Phoenix. It detects any attempt at digital surveillance within a radius of 5 kilometers. Wesley examined the device with professional interest. After leaving Tech Vision, he had founded his own digital security consultancy dedicated to protecting privacy and freedom of information. Phoenix will grow up in a different world to the one the consortium planned, Lily reflected, stroking her belly. A world where thoughts are free. Charlotte began to organize the preparations for the party that would take place in the afternoon. The garden would be decorated with lights and flowers, and close friends, those who had proved their loyalty during the crisis, would come to celebrate the new life that symbolized so much to all of them. Dr. Lin sent a gift from Hong Kong. June mentioned, showing a small tissue paper package. It's a jade amulet for protection. Lily held up the delicate pendant, remembering the brave scientist who had helped dismantle the consortium empire from within. We need to invite her to be godmother. The afternoon progressed with preparations and soft conversations, difficult memories gradually being replaced by hope for the future. Wesley found Lily on the balcony again, watching the sunset paint the lake in golden hues. "I thought of something," he said, hugging her gently. "Phoenix Regina Davidson, in honor of those who helped us fight for this moment." Soft tears glistened in Lily's eyes. "It's perfect." Inside the house, they could hear the voices of their family and friends, those who had risked everything to protect not only them, but freedom of thought itself. Margaret laughed at something June had said while Charlotte and Dr. Jean discussed the latest developments in digital security. "Do you know what I love most about this moment?" Lily asked, turning around in Wesley's arms. "What? It's real. It's not a manipulated memory or an alternate reality. It's our life built through hard choices and true love." Wesley kissed her softly, his hands resting on the spot where his daughter had grown up. "And this is just the beginning." As the stars began to dot the sky over Lake Washington, the lake house glowed with light and life. Phoenix moved actively, as if sensing the joy and hope that permeated the air. In the library, of framed photos showed Lily and Wesley in Hong Kong just after the fall of the consortium. Next to it, an image of the latest ultrasound revealed Phoenix's delicate profile. Past and future danger and hope united in a narrative of love and courage that would continue through the generations. To Phoenix, Wesley raised his glass of juice, starting a toast as everyone gathered for dinner. "May she always know that her parents fought for a world where she could be truly free." To Phoenix, everyone echoed their voices, carrying the weight of the history they had shared and the promise of the future they had helped to build. Night crept softly over the lake, wrapping the house in a cloak of hard-won peace. Lily and Wesley stayed awake long after the guests had left, planning for the future and celebrating the present, knowing that every moment was precious and truly theirs.